Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dad's shoehorn episode of Rip the Band-Aid Off. Why do I need that? Because if I show you this, you'll get grossed out, but I'm going to show you. You ready? See that right there? That's because I didn't have the shoehorn. That little owie right there?
Yeah.
See it? It's not a naked footprint or a feet pick. It's just the heel, the naked heel.
Yes.
But because I now have this, I won't be hurting my heel anymore, putting my shoes on.
Wow.
And that's why we have shoehorns at your house, my house. Anyone that I go to, I bring them a gift.
And now
I have a shoehorn here.
At the studio.
See? And we're going to hang it once we get the hook.
We're not going to find a hook.
Oh, I'll find a hook. I'll make one.
No.
Dad's shop. Dad's Fix-It Shop. Dad's Fix-It Shop.
This ain't broken. There's no fixing needed.
Oh, yes.
No.
Well, I'll just have to hang it right here.
I guess we'll have to take the prop down and put that up instead.
Well, there's plenty of room.
No.
See, look, it fits right in.
How are you going to access it when you need it then by the door?
Well, I'm going to reach for it before I go to the door.
No.
Well, everybody, we welcome you back. I love when you guys comment on stuff. So I'm going to let you guys know that if anyone has expertise in something that we miss saying, make the comment in the comments so people can really get that help. Our thing here, just to remind everybody, is not to judge anybody. It's to give some ideas on experience on how to handle a situation.
I think most importantly, what we do is we get the story out in front of people so that everyone can provide the necessary advice. We put it out there so that all of you can give the real advice.
Right. And the most important thing is that it's a safe place to bring up the problem and not have anyone judge you.
Yeah.
So I don't judge anybody when we have something. We give ideas on how to handle a situation. You guys can accept that idea, process it, adapt it to what works for you. I'm only listening and giving you some thoughts. So I think that that's a wonderful thing to bring people awareness. I think that's great.
Yeah.
But we're not here to judge anybody.
But we're here to also learn.
Yes,
we're
we
happy
are.
to learn.
And I am happy to learn. That's why I said that point blank and brought that forward. I do like learning and I love getting information. And so when you share it, I always look at it and say, bravo, every time.
Very good.
Okay, what's our theme tonight?
Rip the Band-Aid off.
I'm going to like this theme because I really do believe that when you have something that's irritating below and it's got to heal right, rip it off, let the air to it, let the air help heal it and dry it out, and we move on and go forward.
Well, and we'll see which situations here you think they should rip it off or leave it on for a couple more days.
Okay. A couple days is okay.
Well, metaphorically, of course.
Yeah, a couple days is okay, but if it's time to rip it off, there's no time like the present and moving forward because life is so short. You really do have to move on. And that's where ripping that Band-Aid off and going forward, either ripping the Band-Aid off to discuss it or ripping the Band-Aid off to put it behind you and go forward.
Okay, well, let's see how you feel about these.
Okay, well, hit me with it. Story one.
Hi, fam. Longtime listener, first-time writer. How do I tell my dad we don't want his help and are paying a contractor instead? My husband and I bought our first home last September. It's small and needs a few things to up the value for when we eventually resell.
Mm-hmm.
One of those things is putting in steps to the basement where our laundry, gym, and workshop are. There's an outside entrance right now with storm doors, but Canadian winters means steps need to go in before next winter. My dad has been our go-to for all the little/medium things we've needed to do in the first 6 months. Putting in French doors, replacing a bathroom fan, replacing a beam in the basement, etc.
Man, this guy's great.
His eagerness to help has been absolutely priceless. I know he is more than capable of taking on a project as big as putting in stairs, but he's in his mid-60s, aching joints, struggles to get up from his knees, serious heart condition, and has started to forget little things here and there. These reasons alone are making me question if finding a contractor would just be best for all of us. Add to this, I'll be 8 to 9 months pregnant by the time he's able to help us put the stairs in. And clearly by then, I'll be of no help. My parents are snowbirds and love to camp, and they want to get their bigger bucket list trip, RV camping through BC and Alaska, out of the way before their first grandkid gets here, which I completely understand and support. But I'm in my first trimester now, and the nesting is already real. I know I'll be beyond stressed about having major reno work done weeks before I'm due. But my dad is a prideful son of a bitch, I say lovingly, and I know he would take it to heart if I told him we've decided to hire a contractor instead. He's frugal and has renovated their entire home. He wants us to save every penny we can, even at his own expense. He's previously gotten moody over the fact that I asked my boyfriend at the time to put up shelves in my room instead of him. Jerry, how do I tell him?
Well, this is really interesting. Your dad and I are a lot alike.
Yes, very.
And I will tell you that when you and Morgan got your first home, and I came in with my computer and I climbed under the house, and I went and mapped out all the footings and, kind of did a framing of the house.
Yeah.
So we could decide what beams were going to come out and do the same thing. Morgan was really brilliant. She said, "Dad, I love you, but I'm hiring this out. We're just going to do that."
Yeah.
And, look, we try to do things. And I know that Justin is very, very, very good at finishing work and doing work. I've watched what he does. And I've realized with the first thing when Morgan said, "I'm going to hire it out," I have enough to keep me busy.
That's right.
And if you just play exactly what you just play this sequence right to him and just let him know the honesty that you love him and you know that he can do it, but it's going to make you feel easier just to have it done. And he doesn't have to worry about it. When you at least recognize when you do need his help, please be there. And I'm going to try not to take advantage of you, Dad. I know that you're a jewel. You'll do anything in the world for me, but I got to also be in respect of you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to let you hear this and play him this exact sequence. And you've explained it really well. And that you want him to go enjoy his trip and enjoy his life. And yes, it is true. Our knees hurt. We can still climb on ladders. We're still trying to prove our masculinity. We're still taking every drug we can to keep our livers and our kidneys clear and our blood flowing well. And so we can, perform all the things that are out there. The bottom line is that, Dad, just, please let me hire this out. This is the one item that I know that it's not timing wise, it isn't going to work for well. And I'm not going to ask you or even allow you to stop taking your trip with Mom and go up to BC and Alaska.
Yeah.
And go along with me on this one. It's okay.
Yeah.
And that's going to start the idea that he's going to see that you can do this kind of stuff and get it done. I mean, I don't worry about you guys at all. When you're saying I'm going to go in the garage and do, and can I use your saw? And then actually you go out and buy your own saw. You're dialed in. I don't worry about one item. In fact, now when it comes to doing items, I feel like calling you and say, "Can you come help me?"
I would. I'm with you on this one. I think just because there's the timing will just make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you should be at the forefront of this decision in the sense that you'll be 8 to 9 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So really, all things should defer to you because you're the one that's going to be going through that at that time. And given that, it just makes more sense to already have the work done,
Mm-hmm.
not have any added stress, not have your dad going through it. And I know your dad's probably the type of person that's like, "No, it's no problem, no burden. My knees feel good today. I'm ready to work," that kind of thing. But the thing is, there's going to be more projects.
Mm-hmm. Always more.
There's so much more you can involve them in when the timing makes more sense. And once your little baby's here, there's going to be so much more. Maybe you can build the baby's crib.
Maybe.
I mean, there's so many things that are coming that I wouldn't worry about. He's going to miss this big one, but There's so much more.
Just so you know, stairs are easier than a beam. They are. Stairs, you can buy, the pre-cut stuff. He comes in, knocks it in, but if he doesn't have the time, then we move on. So it's not going to be as expensive as you think. I think that it would actually be easier.
Yeah. And, ideal outcome here, that my dad sees our side and understands that realistically, it's both not something he can take on and also something we need ASAP. And that a contractor solves both those problems.
Mm-hmm.
That he also understands that the nursery set is 10 times more meaningful. And during those weeks, I'd rather just have my dad around to support me and be present as he becomes a first-time grandpa instead of swearing at a hole on the floor and sawing away at my house.
I'm going to say it one more time. Play him this clip. Send it to him, and he'll see it all. You've articulated your concern perfectly. We've discussed it. He'll get it, and I think that he'll really be thankful for you at the end of the day, that he can actually just enjoy that month with you at those last moments just before your childbirth, and he'll get it.
If you got this message, you would understand.
Oh, play this for me. I get it.
I don't think there's anything to misunderstand.
No.
It's very simple. It all makes sense.
And for all of you, copy this one and put it away in your phone. So when you have the same problem with dad, in your case, they'll understand it.
That's true.
I mean, look, I'm the worst at this. I always want to be over it because I love coming to the house, and I get it. And it's not that I don't have enough projects to keep me busy. Trust me, I got my own shit to keep me busy.
But a new project's always more fun than the ones you have going on.
I don't understand that. It's like, I actually do now relax a lot more about you guys doing your stuff. I have full confidence in you that you do it. I know that your work is even more methodical than mine. I mean, you are really a great finisher. I'm not a finisher. You're a finisher.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
It's true. You own it. It's not even taking it. You own it. So I would say to all of us, sometimes we just have to learn when to let go, let our teeth out of it, let our kids enjoy it, let them do it. And we get to sit back and just watch and enjoy what we see. Because I come to your house now, what do? I go to the couch.
You do. Yes. You eat some crackers and you go to the couch.
All right. We're going to move on to number 2.
Number 2. Hello, FKS and THT family. I could really use your advice on a tricky situation that I am faced with. I, 29 female, do not know how to tell my best friend Steve, 29 male, that I am not in love with him.
Ooh, I've gotten this one before. It sucks.
When I first met Steve, I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. My boyfriend at that time would constantly yell at me, guilt trip me, throw things in anger, make comments about my weight, bring my mood down, and much more. We were in a 5-year relationship that ended about 3 weeks ago. Steve knew about my relationship from the beginning, and our friendship started off platonic. However, as time went on, we grew a strong connection to each other. We would always make each other laugh, and talking to each other just felt so natural. At one point, we grew so close that we both admitted we were growing feelings towards each other, even though we knew it was wrong since I was still in a relationship. I never physically cheated, but I started to emotionally cheat with Steve after this point. However, I did not instantly break up with my boyfriend because I suffered from isolation and depression in the past. I was scared that if I broke things off with him and things didn't work out with Steve, that I would be completely alone again. So the relationship dragged on, even though I knew it wasn't right for either of us. After a few years, I slowly realized that Steve and I were not as compatible as I once thought. To try to summarize it, he is like a teenager in a 29-year-old body. His jokes are immature and inappropriate at times. He doesn't have a driver's license and keeps making excuses for not getting it. He is lazy and wants to stay home to play video games all day, etc. I'm becoming more and more annoyed with Steve, becoming disinterested in his hobbies or the things he likes, and generally losing the strong connection that we once had. But now that I am single, he has already hinted that we will start dating when I am ready. He even mentions the ideas of getting married or having children with me, when we haven't even dated? How do I let him know that I would not want to start anything romantic with him, but still keep our friendship? And will staying his friend, knowing this messy history, potentially affect my dating life in the future?
Well, the good thing is that you are free of a relationship period at this point in time. You got rid of the bad one, and the crutch that you had to support you through getting rid of it.
Yep.
And I use the word crutch because that's exactly what Steve was. He was your emotional crutch. And now that you're free of the other one, the crutch is kind of in your way. And the reality of him not being your mate or not being your person is point blank real. You definitely have to share it with him. If you are absolutely positive that he's not your guy, you just say, you know something? I really care for you. You think the world of me. And if to use the word that I love who you are, I love who you are. Am I in love with you for me? We're not that couple.
Yeah.
And the healthiest thing for me to really say is, yes, we can be friends and, we can go out and hang out and do stuff, but I have no interest in you physically. I have no interest in you being my mate or my person. And I have to really define this so we don't get off in the wrong direction. And if you can accept the fact that, I'm being that brutally honest with you, that I want you to go out and find that person, that's what you have to do. Now, I've been in the same situation. I am not inexperienced at this. There are relationships that have been very attracted to me, and there's relationships I've been very attracted to them. And they don't always work. They don't always, we're not all in the same place at the same time. And we want to understand why not. There is no understanding why not.
Mm-hmm.
It either works for them or it doesn't work for them. And the most important thing that we can do is not fool ourselves. Right. And look, I've been friends with somebody that I was hoping that it could be it. It may be it. It may not be it. I spent 3 years or 2.5 years with somebody off and on, and she was very direct. She said to me after 3 months of dating, I don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I may have felt something in the beginning, but it's not there. And be realistic with it. And I was like, but we're best friends.
Right.
We're with each other, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We love each other. She would say, no doubt, we do love each other, but I don't have that feeling for you. And it took me forever to get it.
Yeah.
And I thought it would come back. And then I said, well, I'll do, then I got mad and I disappeared. I cut it off. And after about 6 months or 3 or 6 months, she called me back for some, emergency, which was not an emergency, but whatever it was, she found an excuse to call.
Yep.
And we went right, and I said, I miss you. And she says, I miss you. And I thought, thank God we're going to really get this thing back together and on track. And the answer is it never got on track. It happened again, the same, nothing changed. I was there as, her support mechanism, but that was where all it really was. So I'm telling you, be direct with him, make sure he painfully knows and that he is moving forward.
Yeah.
Don't give him any hope that there is a hope for a relationship here. Let it be known that it is done. And, in your own mind, just so you know it, you don't know where you'll be in 6 months. You may come back and say, something, he is growing. There are things that, that may have changed. A lot of the things that you're picking on right now, you're looking for excuses to not have this relationship.
Which is fair.
You could easily go to him and say, something, I need you to grow up. There's a problem. Go do the work and see what happens after we do the work. Maybe there'll be an attraction, but he needs to find the person that's going to accept him for what he is and is going to want to grow. And that together you can grow.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in a relationship. And I definitely know that in relationships I've had, I've used the words, we need to both grow, consistently grow. If we're not growing at the same rate together, there'll be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And long as we're growing, then it's okay. We can hang out and see where we go with this thing. There's no guarantee in a relationship.
So you think rip the Band-Aid off,
have the conversation.
Have the conversation.
Absolutely. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today.
Well, in the ideal outcome, I'm hoping to stay friends with Steve, but set the necessary boundaries.
Mhm.
I also do not want to hurt his feelings since his self-esteem is already very low. So I just think maybe from your experience, because you seemingly were in Steve's position,
Mhm.
it's difficult when, you want to be direct. You want to rip the Band-Aid off and be very clear,
Mhm.
right? Like you said, be very clear
Mhm.
of your intentions. How do you do that delicately when someone already is very low in self-esteem?
I think that their self-esteem is going to survive it. I really will definitely say when it came to, I'll use the word the fact that we were so brutally honest with one another
Mm-hmm.
really was the best thing. And I do know that when I ended my relationship of last, I became the person that wanted to pull the Band-Aid off. And as soon as I recognized that this is not going to be my person, I mean, I thought about it, for a few days. I mean, it was percolating. I mean, it just doesn't happen in an hour and you're done.
Yeah.
It was percolating. There were issues that were going on in my head. I certainly had a conversation with her about some of the things that I found a problem with. I can see that we were definitely we're on different paths in my brain where she wanted to be and where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I listened to the things that she had for frustrations. I knew, and I just said, something? This is not going to be my person long term. I need to end this right now, today. And I went and I pulled that Band-Aid off. And she was like mortified that, where did I come up with this? I mean, she never in a million years. I said, we've had these discussions.
Mm.
You weren't hearing me. You weren't digesting what I've been saying. And so the answer really was, well, she would be, she came back with the argument, can we go for this? Can we do that? And I said, we're beyond that.
Yeah.
I already know that we are not that couple. I already know that from being with you for 2.5 years, going on 3 years, that this is who you are, who I am, and this is not going to change. Those motions are already dead.
Yeah. So our writer here will have to, it's their best friend, right? So I think you of all people are going to know how best to approach him with this and how to put it, but also not end up in that situation. I think you hurt someone the most by not being as clear as you can be. And I think we think that, by dancing around it a little bit and kind of giving hints that this isn't going to work out, that they'll take the hint and we'll be able to just kind of peacefully remain friends, but not be in a relationship. But oftentimes that ends up being what really hurts somebody.
And what the interesting thing is, you have not been intimate. I mean, look, I was never a lover of Allison. We were never lovers. However, I was in love with her. And we had a great time together, and we were best of friends.
Yeah.
But when I would say certain things, about behavior with me, and then I felt there was a lack of disrespect. That's what really killed the ability of being friends.
A lack of respect.
There was a lack of respect.
Yes.
There was disrespect.
Yes.
And when that showed up after I've said, something on 2 occasions prior to on a behavior and did not listen, and then, really went against everything that I stood for, I just said, why am I investing this time in this person? They don't even appreciate it.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's really what killed it.
Well, and, you don't know where the future will take you, right?
We never know that.
We'll see. We got to start with ripping the Band-Aid off, and then we can see first how our friendship evolves and then go from there.
Yeah. Like I said, it's never over. I always say it's never over until you say I do, and everyone, misunderstands the statement, but it really is. All bets are off until you guys finally figure it out, and you can't force it. It's going to organically happen because you both want it to happen.
Yeah.
And if you both organically doesn't work, then it's okay. We move on and go forward, and we find the person and wish that other partner, that friend, the best that you can find that individual.
Time will tell.
Okay, let's go move on to number 1, 2, 3.
Trigger warning in this next one, mentions of abuse and suicide. So if you don't want to hear that today, can't handle that, just move on to the next one. Okay, number 3.
Number 3.
Hi, FKS fam.
Hi.
I love both pods, and I'm hoping that you can give me some advice. This is long, so buckle up, Jerry.
Oh, buckling up?
I, 22 female, and my husband, 26 male, are planning to start our family. We're doing really well in every way, and I couldn't be more blessed with how my life has turned out. However, with this pregnancy comes some drama I'd like to avoid. For some background, I have an estranged relationship with my mother, 47 female, since the age of 18. She had abused me mentally and physically, and around the age of 12, I decided I couldn't live there anymore due to depression and suicidal thoughts being too much. I moved in with my father the following summer. My parents do not get along. They were never married, and I was the result of a one-night stand. Having a relationship with my mother at this point is simply not an option, not only for my well-being, but for my marriage and my future children as well. If she could abuse me, she can and will abuse my children the same way, just as her mother did before her to me and other children in the family. I want to enjoy this new phase in my life, and quite frankly, I wouldn't be here if I allowed her toxicity in still. She has never met my husband. I met him a few months after going no contact. When she found out I was engaged through a distant family member and social media, she called me to scream and yell, yammering on and on about how awful it was for me to keep that from her. I got married without even inviting her and haven't heard a peep from her since. I just have this gut feeling that she will contact me regarding a pregnancy or baby because it's such a big thing in my life I know she'll want to be a part of. She will manipulate and gaslight me if she gets the chance. Should I hide this pregnancy until I have the baby, at least publicly or on social media? Or should I rip the Band-Aid off early and just announce it before the baby is here so I can enjoy that moment as well? The issue is that she will find out eventually. I just don't know when the best time would be for my mental health and well-being.
Right now, you're not hearing from her. And I know you want to enjoy your pregnancy and be public about it. If you can handle the abuse and the constant knocking on your door with this woman and the yelling and the screaming and the guilt tripping and all the shit that will probably come from it, then knock yourself out. Go public. If you don't want to deal with the fallout, then for right now, get through your pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep it intimate between you and your husband, the immediate people that you know. Leave social media out. Pretend we're back in the 50s and there is no social media.
The good old days.
The good old days. Look, we live in social media. I really don't, do too much of my social media. I find that every time something goes public on it, it bites me in the ass somewhere down the road. So, I kind of just keep, people that I'm in contact with, people that I know, that I feel safe with. And there's, and I like that.
Yeah.
But doing what you're doing to go attract this nightmare, I think it's just putting a magnet out there and you're going to attract it in. And, the one thing that I do recognize that you recognize, it's generation to generation. And she hasn't gotten help. And you yourself recognize it, that you're not going to repeat this. And you're taking the opposite, tact on it.
Mm-hmm. Ideal outcome, I want to celebrate my pregnancy without feeling like I have to hide it, but I also don't want my mother to stress me out about something so joyous. Any feedback is appreciated. I think, if you want to, you can hide it and try to keep it under wraps and be constantly nervous that your mom's going to find out.
But I have a question.
Yes.
She can talk to her friends about it and she can enjoy can enjoy this pregnancy like you're back in the 50s. Keep it out of the direction of her mother. But as soon as you go social media, it invites it. I say that invites the problem. Can she bring in the people and enjoy the pregnancy without going to social media?
Yeah, but I also think if she wants to put on social media, go right ahead. Because I don't think you should live the rest of your life
in fear of your mother.
fear that your mom's going to call you or find out about something and try to ruin it for you. I think it's more, like you said in here, she's going to find out at some point, one way or another, whether you're on social media or not.
I agree with you on this, but here's the one thing. When you're pregnant, when you're going through pregnancy, and there's sometimes you can go high risk and you can go other directions, you are also threatening during the pregnancy portion the health and the ability of this child's potential birth. And because of that, I say, if she finds out about the child after you give birth, at least you got through that portion where there was no issue. She's in the beginning of a pregnancy. Danette went high risk. In the last part of Morgan's pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
We were concerned about her with Morgan. So it's like she didn't need any more stress, and Danette had all kinds of stress.
But I just think here we're looking at a long-term problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's coming to life right now because something big's happening in your life. But what I think is, even if she does find out during the pregnancy, it's like you're kind of living just waiting for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some underlying stress that's built in with that no matter what. I think what would be really helpful and healthy is to start working through not getting so affected by your mom and using therapy and whatever other tools you can to get mentally to a place where she can't come in and cause such stress and hurt to you so much,
mm-hmm.
because she's already done that.
I agree.
And I think as much as you can work through trying to help build a shield or a barrier, even a castle around you,
mm-hmm.
so that even if she found out and you post it on social media, just, you know what, I'm going to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
She finds out, it doesn't hit you so hard when she tries to come and ruin it.
Totally agree with you. If she has the ability of putting up that wall and not let her mom affect her. And if you get to a person that is so intruding that you can't keep them out of you don't have the mental strength to keep them out of your way, and they're going to keep coming and keep pounding on you, then I don't know if you do it with preparing for a temporary restraining order.
Well, you could get there,
you know,
right? It's
just
different
knowing,
levels of boundaries.
Right. There's different ways of doing it, but you got to remember one thing. You just want to make sure that you're not going to suffer irreparable harm. And if there's irreparable harm, restraining order. So, long as you got the infrastructure to protect yourself, you can take that risk if it's that important to you.
Yeah. I would just go with your gut feeling and what feels right for you. But in hopes that you will work towards living a life where you can just live the life you want to live without considering so much about what the effect is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm feeling it and I want to announce it to the world. You should be able to do that.
Absolutely.
Without, thinking, the backlash from my mom. And I know that's so out of your control. But I just hope that you could get to that point eventually with your life. Okay. Well, let us know what you decide. And with the other ones, let us know.
All right. We're moving on to number 3.
Number 4.
Oh, we're moving on to number 4.
Hello. I'm at a loss about where to go from here. I, 28 female, have been with my boyfriend, 33 male, for almost 5 years, moved in together about 2 years ago. I made it clear from the beginning of our relationship that I am not happy living where we are, and I would eventually want to move across the country. He had no problem with this because he isn't close with his family, and he is a serious homebody. Well, I'm set to graduate in December and have more seriously began looking into jobs and homes in the area I thought we both wanted to move to. But I can see how anxious he is now. Being neutral to a big move was one thing, but now he says, I am trying to convince myself the move will be good. I don't want to force him to move across the country, but I don't want to be here. I asked him how he would feel moving elsewhere, and he felt it would be the same as asking him to move cross country. I asked if he was suddenly not confident in our relationship, and he said, while he has his occasional doubts, being with me is the only bright side he can find to moving. He's never lived anywhere else, and he owns the house we live in. I wonder if he's got some huge anxiety problems that he isn't confronting, but he's very go with the flow and never has opinions on anything. We joke a lot that he's a sociopath, but I wonder sometimes if he actually might be. Our relationship is pretty good. We have some small issues, and we're working on improving our sex life. And I feel kind of blindsided that the time has come for us to finally get out of this town, and he's forcing himself not to panic. My ideal outcome would be staying together and moving, but I can't force him to go. I need him to have at least some curiosity or at least neutrality about the situation.
Well, I think you laid it out way before in the beginning that you didn't want to stay there, that it was going to be a kind of a temporary thing. And everyone's kind of gotten kind of compliant and just let it go on.
Yeah.
You haven't changed. You have said, I need to get out of here. And my answer to you is you need to make that plan to move. And, he's either going to jump on board or he's not. I understand you guys got things you're working out, but the bottom line is that you need to go make this choice for yourself first. And I go back to my own self for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I have met people that I've had relationships with that I've lived in different cities, and I would be happy to live the rest of my life with them. My preference is to live in LA, but I certainly have made choices and lived other places.
Mm-hmm.
It really is about who you're doing it with. It gets down to that. So I would say, continue on your path. I really want you to do this with me, but I'm doing it with you or without you.
Right, because she's going no matter what.
Well,
this has been a long-term plan, and it's not like, we would never say, hey, don't move, stay in a place you hate just so you can keep your relationship alive, because that will take it down either way.
Mm-hmm.
You're going.
You got to find a place for both of you where you're both going to be happy.
And so is it time now? Obviously they've had this conversation probably numerous times, but is this the time to say, listen, the time is here. I am doing this. What's our situation? Because we got to figure this out.
Are you watching?
Yeah. That was good. That's a good rip of the Band-Aid.
Rip the Band-Aid.
Do you have any Band-Aids currently you can rip
I
off?
do not have a Band-Aid with me. but I did take off some of the hair.
Oh, perfect.
And it hurt a little bit, but it's okay. It's going to heal.
Because you know why you rip the Band-Aid off? Because it hurts, but the pain is a lot quicker and it's over way faster than if you try and slowly rip that thing out. You're going to go, no. So we're at this point with this story. It's not an ultimatum. It's kind of ultimatum, but it's kind of that final conversation. Are we going to do this or no?
It's an invitation. Are you going to, I'm inviting you to go to our next chapter. Are you in or are you out? That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And you're taking your own life in your own direction in your own hand. You're not just staying compliant where it can turn into bitterness later or anything else. You've made a decision. You made this decision long ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you've given him the opportunity. Now he's got to get on with it. We're moving. You can take the house, you can rent it, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want. But we're out of here. At least I am.
And him being a homebody, you can be a homebody kind of anywhere because you're not so reliant on what the city or the place has to offer. Even though I would like to see, it's cool being a homebody, but it would be interesting if being in a new place would inspire him to get out and explore and meet some friends and do some whatever in a new area. It might be, a very healthy change for him. So I don't know. I'm curious because you've had the conversation so many times. I'm curious how this one will go. and what decisions will be made.
And by the way, it may not go good at first. It may change later. It may go great at first, and it may change later.
But at least the Band-Aid's off.
But you got to you got to live life. You got to try it.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to go to number 5.
The grand
finale.
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it. That
was very nice.
Like that?
That was a little trumpet.
Yeah.
For number 5. Oh, no.
Wait a minute. And it's a
No, we got...
Now it's a flugelhorn. Cornet.
You're done.
I'm done.
All right, number 5. I, 22 female, have been with my boyfriend, 22 male, for just over 3 years now. Up until now, I thought he was the love of my life. Of course, we've had ups and downs, but I always thought we were on the same page in terms of our future together. Last week, my boyfriend said he was having some doubts in our relationship and says he's been feeling the urge to flirt with / get to know other girls when he goes out to the bars with his friends. I initially respected his feelings and even suggested a break, since these are things that I would like to explore too before we commit to one another.
Mm-hmm.
We agreed to see how the relationship goes for the next couple of months before we made any major decisions, and I still felt very secure in the relationship up until this morning. My boyfriend went to the bathroom and left his laptop unlocked.
Nice of him.
I know I shouldn't have, but I decided to go through his messages. I found a series of texts between him and his best friend where my boyfriend describes the night out he has just had a few days before. In that, he talked about having multiple girls come up and try to flirt with him, which I knew about. I don't feel uncomfortable having random girls come up to my boyfriend when he goes out without me because he always shuts it down. What I wasn't okay with, though, is when my boyfriend bragged about how, quote, fine these girls were to his friend. I know it's natural to find other people attractive when you're in a relationship. So am I wrong for feeling so awful about this? I'm not sure if I can talk to my boyfriend about this because I invaded his privacy by going through his private messages, but I really feel like it's something I need to get off my chest. I just can't imagine throwing away the past 3 years over something like this because I truly thought he was my soulmate. What should I do?
I think that your first thought was the right thought, and that was to take a pause. Really is. Go out and just say, look, we may end up together, we may not end up together, but without playing any games with each other and wondering what it's going to be, we both need to take this pause.
Yeah.
And if we end up back together where we really discover that we don't want to be without one another, great. But right now, let's break up. And it's not breaking up and being friends right now. It's breaking up and really separating. You'd go on your life. I'm going to go on to my life. And look, we may meet somebody and never come back. And if it's meant to be, we will come back. I started dating Marina when I was 19 or 20. Maybe I was 20, whatever, somewhere in that area.
Yep.
And I thought that she was my person. And for the first 3 years, she was my person. And all of a sudden, my life took some changes financially with work and other things. And next thing you know, I'm traveling and there are women everywhere. And I was in the bars and I was flirting but before that even happened, I recognized that was happening. And I went to her and said, something? I don't think we're the right ones, because if I felt that we were right, I wouldn't even be looking.
Right.
And the fact that I was entertaining the thought and thirsting for the thought told me there was something going on in our relationship that wasn't perfect.
Yep.
Later on in life, I came out and said, something? I really should have married Marina way back in the beginning. The problem would have been is I would have not been true to her. I would have fooled around. I would have had affairs because that's just the reality of where I was at that point in time in my development in life. And when I had the chance to get back with her later in life, I still wasn't ready. And now that I've calmed down, I go, what a great person. I really made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Life is going through being with the right person to go through these life changes that keeps yourself focused with everything you're doing. And so at the end of the day, she wasn't the right person. And
Right.
at the end of the day, he may not be the right person, but you have to at least give it the chance to back away
Yep.
and discover, because it happened with my nephew, not one nephew, 2 nephews. And it happened with my other son, with Matthew.
Yeah.
They all took pauses, they all went away, and they all came back and married those women.
Well, and the thing is, you know, how we're talking break, pause. I think a lot of people think that, oh, we should take a break. Doesn't always mean breakup. A lot of people think we're just going to take some time apart, but still be connected. Oh, but we're just on a break, which I've never ever seen that actually work, because you're still connected. You're still tied. You're not actually experiencing
Life without him.
Exactly. You're still, there's no change. And so I've never seen that be a successful, route to go. But like what you're saying, it's a break up. We may come back together. Who knows? But to actually give your future selves a shot at being together, you actually have to fully break up and live life separately. Not doing this thing that everyone calls a break, where, oh, we're just going to go sleep with people and not talk for a couple months. We need to actually break, have a break.
We're done. We are done. And if something happens to bring us back together, great. But it's not I'm gone for 6 months. I'll let's go out to dinner in 6 months from now.
Well, because oftentimes the people who take these breaks end up coming back together. Yeah, it was a mistake. And then they end up in the same place a few months later. Ideal outcome here. We find a way to move past our issues and we commit to each other fully with or without a break. Committing without a break at this point for me is not an option, because we're both looking outside right now. You want to explore it. He's already exploring it. Moving forward without a break right now is a recipe for disaster, or as Jerry says, is a setup for destruction.
You guys may find out that you don't want to ever live life without one another and you want to grow together, but you may find out also that you weren't the right ones. And there is another person out there that checks all these boxes that enables you to go on with life and never look back.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I've mentioned it a few times on this show, but I had 2 people I knew in high school. They were together all through high school, and then college, they split up. And I think maybe towards the end of college or just after, they came back together, married, have a house, have a kid. So it does happen.
I have 3 young men in the next generation below me. I have my son, Matthew, my nephew, Seth, and my nephew, Jason. They all did it. They all got back together months later.
Yep.
Maybe one was 6 months, maybe it was a year, whatever those time durations were. They now all have children. They're married to each other, and they all have children together.
There you go.
So
you never know. But don't hold on to it.
No, you really have to really break up and go on your merry way and see what life takes you to it brings you back together. If that's really what if it's meant to be, it will be. If they're your beshert, it's called beshert. The one that's meant for you.
Okay.
Then it's your beshert. If it's not, you move on.
So rip the Band-Aid off and find out.
I agree on that one.
Okay.
That's the end of our show, this episode. We will see you in the backyard with the palm trees.
We're going straight there.
We're going to be there.
We have 2 more Rip the Band-Aids off coming in, hot off the press.
And it's just Justin and I tonight. Morgan is out with her bachelorette weekend.
Somewhere in the world.
Somewhere floating out there. I do know because I checked Find My Friends and I saw the beach.
There you go.
Anyway, so we'll catch you next week. And don't forget to become part of our Patreon. And if you have not gone on to YouTube or the other or Spotify or somewhere and hit the like and subscribe button, please do so.
And go leave your comments and advice, please.
Absolutely leave your comments and your advice and come see us at Patreon. And don't forget, on the top level tiers, we have our once a month group teas, and Morgan has an hour with 2 hot takes, and I have an hour with FKS. So
yes.
And I have a surprise for you on the next FKS. It's going to be somebody that's going to log in. We're going to have some fun. So
very good.
We'll see you there.